Welcome everyone to another live Kava session on the Polynesian Eyes podcast. We're here, Tua and Mr. Aotearoa, all the way from New Zealand. Really exciting news today for the sports Polynesian community. Tua Tagovailoa got the $200 million payday, 51 plus, was it 53? 53 million a
Something like
year.
that. A
Yeah.
year.
So pretty exciting news for Polynesian sports. What are your thoughts on Tua Man's payday, Masi?
Nah, happy for the guy, and I mean it's the reason why I kind of cheer for looking for specifically the Tongan Samoan players when they're on the NFL teams because I know when they do well, they get a big paycheck, and all it does is help improve their lives and their whole community because it's always a big following for those Polynesian athletes. So not happy for him. 50 million plus, and because he's in the state of Florida, there's no state tax. He gets more of his money instead of going to
Yes.
you know Uncle USA tax department. So happy for him, and hopefully he does well with his first team that he was drafted to with Miami Dolphins.
No, and
So
that's a good point, man. Florida is no income tax, so he saved himself
correct.
a couple $1,000,000 right there. You know, one of the reasons why I love living in Texas is that exact reason. No income tax, no state income tax.
Mm.
So, ma'ala
Oh,
yarbito.
and another thing too, it's I don't think they probably maybe some athletes have say it a little bit louder or not, but like there's some athletes when it makes a difference which team or states they're gonna play in because I know it helps with how much they're gonna get in return and which tax. So Florida and Texas are very attractive, and I know some of the NBA players, there's been talks that a lot of them don't want to play in Toronto,
Yeah.
Canada, because the
Yes.
tax is so high on their salaries. And these are multi-million dollar salaries that goes to the Canadian government. And a lot of them want to play in the US because it's less tax. So
No,
it's interesting.
100%. I saw Tyreek Hill make that same comment either on Twitter where he's like, "Hey, on this deal because I'm in Florida, um that gives me like a 4 or $5 million savings."
Mm.
So, we got a couple comments here. Hey, Tevia, Malo, I appreciate
Hey,
it, man.
what's up, Tevia? Man.
Yes.
Opa to Tevia and the family, total family.
100%. Hey, Brown Monk, welcome, welcome. We did see
Oh,
that
Monk.
email. Brown Monk sent us some heavy reading, Masi. Yeah, I
Oh,
skimmed through
yeah.
the PDF. I was like, oh, yeah, way.
My shit. Oh, hey, bro, Monk. Telling us to go back to school, eh?
I know, Brown Monk, usually when we have something, you go to the gym, you start with like the 135, Instead, we
Maria.
go in, Brown Monk, warm up on the 315, 315, the three plates. I was like, oh, yeah, way.
Hey,
Malo, malo.
Maria.
Yes, 100% Clyde Moore. Uncle Sam, all he wants is the piece of the pie and he never spends it well.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, malo, malo. Shione. Shione
Texas
actually is
boy.
in Texas. He's definitely, we're big Texas fans. And hopefully Shione will join us. We'd like to do an interview with Shione. He's been
Maria.
traveling the last few weeks, but
San Antonio? Where's Johnny at?
he's in the Dallas,
Oh,
Fort
Dallas
Worth
area.
area. He's in Little Tonga, that HEB,
That
Euless,
is.
you
Yes, that is
know.
the Tongan area in
Yep,
Texas.
100%. Yep, Clay Thompson's going to reap the benefits as well, signing his deal in Dallas. And so, he's, especially Clay Thompson coming from the Bay Area, he's going to feel a big
Ooh.
difference. Big difference.
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, Yahweh. What a Bears! How did you get your visa to join us today? I thought you were in the doghouse.
Hey, Waterbergs, just tell us the truth. Your wife told you to put that. Your partner told you to put that. I know that's not you, Waterbergs.
100%, 100%. Well, we're pretty excited for today. As we mentioned, we're gonna go through a video that Grok shared with us on, some of the major points to say on the Tui Manua, and also some of the concepts and history in Samoa. So we did go through this video. It's a 2-hour long video, so I did spend some time to try and find some bookmarks So
Mm.
we're going to listen to some clips, some very interesting things for conversations. So with that being said, Masi, I have while I pull this up, I
Yeah.
did, skim through. Man, we've been flooded on TikTok and on YouTube with comments. Haven't
Mm.
been able. I spent like 25 minutes today
Yeah.
trying to respond to some of the TikToks, but I did see some of the comments. When we walk through um, the Tui Manua title,
Correct.
that let me see here real quick.
On our previous episodes, right?
One
That
of
we
our
kind of.
previous episodes, there was some criticism that was a Palangis list. Um,
Okay. Okay. Hey, no, and that's what was.
yeah,
That's only what we have. So yeah, if there was another list. Hey, we're open to it.
exactly. That's the one we could find, and that's here's the other thing: we appreciate the lists, but just like one of our bossos from Fiji, we were like, we never seen a Pulotu list, and homeboy came
Oh
up with
wow.
with like a list that's 100 names. So we better be careful.
Hey, at least, hey, and I'm happy for that pozo there because at least he brought names and he said, okay, we can start from there, but then we'll dissect to it, and that's the cool thing about the Polynesian Eyes podcast too. We have the groundbreaking news for the first Tui Pulotu list. Oh what? Eh?
Oh, yeah,
Eh?
man, that's a good point. We're gonna be the first ones to reveal the Tui Pulotu list.
Oh
So
what? Oh
on a
what?
future episode, we're gonna do the
Yeah.
groundbreaking.
Hmm.
Again, you guys can discuss that in the physical Kava session, but tell them, guys, I got this new data from the digital Kava session, the Polynesian Ice podcast.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, a couple more. Welcome everybody that's joining in. I appreciate it. So here's the first video, and as I mentioned here, I forgot the professor's name. Oh, Albert. We can just open it up here. So this. Oh, I covered his name, his face. But let me see if I can get rid of that for just a second. Maybe we'll just there we go.
Okay. Hmm.
For his sake, we'll lose some
Yeah.
we'll
Deal.
lose some branding.
Yeah.
We'll lose some branding opportunities to help out Uso here. Um,
Yeah.
but this is a professor. He did some studies in Samoa on the mounds that they found there, and then he just kind of walks through some of the discussions. So we'll just listen and then have some
Mm,
discussion and go from there.
mm,
All right.
uh, firstly is around the kind of the puzzle around, or the some kind of misunderstanding or understanding around why mounds, these the build-up platform, existed in Samoa.
Alors là, vous avez une image de l'archipel des îles Samoa. Bien sûr, aujourd'hui, nous connaissons qu'il y a deux
Yeah, they
Samoa,
do
une
some
Samoa
translation.
indépendante et une Samoa américaine.
So
Et là, par contre, ils ont
we'll
partagent
suffer
tous la
through the
même chose,
French
des monticules,
translation here for a little
des
bit.
plateformes construites, qui ont été construites par
It's
l'humain, où
it's
se trouvaient bien sûr
so
les sites
cool
sacrés.
because
Et là, nous allons...
we're in the Olympics is in France.
Yes. And I guess there's a lot of controversy on the opening ceremonies.
Oh, I didn't watch it because we're
Oh
like,
yeah, a bearded
Or there
female.
are around over 100 of these structures, from a very large structure, which I will talk about here, but also there are many numerous ones in Savai'i, especially Upolu. There are a lot in Upolu, the island of Manono, and then American Samoa in Manua and Tutuila.
I was gonna pause
let's
it
forget-
right there because one of the
Yeah.
things that I thought was interesting, if I remember correctly, so basically he's saying there's hundreds of mounds, right? Over
Okay.
100 mounds, which okay, that's interesting. That's good.
Yeah.
How many mounds are in Tonga when they do the scans?
thousands,
Tens of thousands.
tens of thousands.
So
Correct.
just to kind of give there, so there is significance. We do take the position that mound building is an important kind of identifier of the
Hmm.
Polynesian Empire. But
Yeah.
just to kind of give a comparison of the scale, in Tonga, it's tens of thousands. In Samoa, it's over 100. And
Hmm.
the majority of them are the star mounds, right?
Correct.
He mentions a couple large ones. But what stuck out to me, Mussy, is he said it's predominantly on Upolu. Who typically spends the majority of his time in Upolu? The Tui Tonga.
Mm.
Isn't that where the Tui Tonga spent a lot of his time?
Correct. 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 In the Upolu, but there's also some stories that the Tui Tonga would spend its time in Savai too.
In Savai.
Yes.
So yeah, so
And
that's kind of interesting.
yes. No, and I was gonna add on to it's interesting he said Upolu because maybe it's not as it hasn't been reserved or lasted in a long time. But I haven't heard any of the star mounds that are been in Upolu. I've only heard the ones that's currently been talked about now in the village of Palauli in Savai, where their star mounds are at. So yeah, it's interesting. I would like to are they gonna go through some of the videos in Upolu or is it just the one in Savai?
So that Pulemelei is primarily he's going to talk about that's in Savai. He seems to really focus a lot on the star mounds in Manono, that little
Okay.
island right there.
Okay.
He seems to talk about that island is just covered, which I wondering if that's like a little habitat maybe for pigeons, maybe why they did, because we
Good.
kind of have that. This guy has um a different perspective on the star mounds. He does a different interpretation on it.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, yes, Tuaholo, this is that right there, that Pulemelei
Mm.
mound. They'll eventually dig into it. And they do talk about that Temple Brown monk. So we're gonna go to, I believe, I'm gonna go to the second to the next
Segment
bookmark. Yeah.
bookmark.
So 1701. You know what? I did this out of order. I apologize because this is 16. I wanted to go 16 and 17. All right, let's try this one. Let's try this one and see. Maybe this was more of the intro.
Over 100 of these structures from a very large structure, which I will talk about here, but also there are many numerous ones in Savai'i,
Oh, this is the one we
especially
already watched.
Upolu.
Mm.
So we'll get that one, delete that one so I don't get confused.
Nice, nice, interesting. Yeah, that's all. I was kind of while you try and get the next one too. That's all I was just thinking. I've never seen any of the Star Mountain because I've been to Polu, been to Tuila. I didn't see any. I have heard of the Pulemelei when I was in Samoa in 2010 to 2012 in Savai'i, and I did hear of that, and that was predominantly the most kind of excavation that was happening. So that is interesting. Manono's another island. So the Manono Island is between Upolu and
Right
Savai'i.
here. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that is interesting. Interesting to see those things. Star Mounds. Pulemelei.
Yeah.
Oh, Tua, are
Oh,
you? I'm not hearing it.
you're not hearing it?
Yeah.
Okay. It said the browser lost connection. Let's do, I'm going to close everything. This is the beauties of the live session, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Technical difficulties. Anyways, in the meantime,
Hmm.
let's look at some of the comments here. Really, I'm not aware of that. Nacho, that there's a lot of songs in
No.
the Tongan that mention that.
No. And Nacho. I think it was one of our other viewers also mentioned that Taufahau would go to Manono for some stuff. So maybe Manono has a tie to us, maybe to Ha'apai and like the Tuikan Polo, because a lot of their people come from Manono and Polu, but I don't know. Maybe could be that's why we're not too familiar with it.
Mm. Okay. Let me
Mm.
see. Let me open this up.
Because apparently Manono, there's a place called one of our viewers mentioned that there's a place in a village called Apai, kind of named after Haapai in Manono and stuff. So yeah, in their stories, apparently Tauvahau went to Manono. So that's all. Yeah, that's all I kind of know about Manono.
Okay. Looks like I had this a little bit backwards, but hopefully we'll get this right this time.
Hey, no worries, no worries.
Share screen. All right. Let me know if you don't hear the sound again, Mas.
Which I will talk about
Oh,
here.
funny, whoa, my.
Also, there are many numerous ones in Savaii, especially Upolu. There are a lot in Upolu, the island of Manono, and then American Samoan in Manua and Tutuila.
Hmm. Alors, on va se focaliser sur des structures qui sont très grandes.
And that's the one we just watched, hey, Tua.
Yes, that's the one we just watched. Let's
And
come here.
yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
and you go ahead. Go ahead. No, I was gonna just say I'll be interested where exactly it's concentrated in Upolu and Tutuila. I would like to know if it's concentrated like in a certain area or region, or if it's kind of like everywhere. So that's kind of my question I would ask.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He may get into it later on, but that doesn't come across my mind right now
Mm,
at this time. But we'll see. We'll see what's going on here.
On va,
okay.
on va voir ça ensemble. Il y a aussi qui sont pas aussi grands, mais
Most place in Samoa, which is in Savaii, which is the place in Falealupo where the sun sets, and it's one of these sacred places where the ancestors or the very high-ranked chiefs, when they die, their spirits will travel to this point, and from there walk beneath the ocean towards Pulotu.
Alors,
So once again, this discussion about Fiji being Pulotu,
Yeah.
right? And we take the position that Pulotu is a spirit world, like he mentions here, and that it's not a physical location; it's a spirit realm,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and the reason why throughout Polynesia Pulotu is always to the west is tied to what the professor was saying is that's where the sun sets. Right, and where the sun sets, that's where the end of life is. So that's why our ancestors always referenced Pulotu to the west.
Correct.
Of course, there are PhDs who are out in Fiji right now trying to find Pulotu. So we wish them the best of luck, but
Correct.
I don't think that they will be very successful. I'm going to open a couple of these links again, and I'm wondering, okay, any comments on that, Masi, for the next few?
No, just agree with you. Pulotu is a spiritual location where the spirit dwells. That's kind of where I stand on that. With Pulotu, it's not a physical location here. Um, isn't there other philosophies out there, or philosophers out there that think Pulotu is where kind of the start of the Polynesia kind of thing, but yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I don't know about that one, but yeah.
Yeah, I
my
just
thoughts
think
on
it's
that.
hilarious that's people out there looking for Pulotu. I was
Yeah.
just like, okay, let me know how that goes for you. So now
Yeah.
he's going to start talking about the Pulemelei mound.
Three three-dimensional model that was made by Tupulemelei and his students here in Auckland. And it shows you, and I think we've got a number of slides so you can see the extent of how large the structure is. It's normally overgrown, and currently it's quite overgrown. So every time people go there, an excavation go there, and they clear the mound, within months, the whole structure is covered over.
Alors ça, c'est une...
Are these mounds? I want to see if I can find some pictures. Is this like small stones that are just stacked on each other?
Yeah.
And there's
From what I see,
no like cement or anything that holds it together or anything. It's just.
I don't think. Yeah, it's just a bunch of stones that have been stacked together. From what I've seen on the, on the real photos of the mound. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's interesting.
No,
I'm
go
interested
ahead.
in this. No, I'm interested in this. In the Rafiti is his name.
Mm-hmm.
Rafiti, in his what's his understanding of the purpose of the mounds.
Yes, he's going to get into it.
Yeah.
He says that it's a temple.
A temple. Okay.
Yes, he says that it's a temple that is at the top, because they've confirmed that there was a structure.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'm trying to see if I can find a good picture of the
Pulemelei.
Yes. Trying to see if I can find something here to share. Let's share this tab, see if we can find a picture. It says there's a picture. Photograph of one of the Pulemelei. It looks like just a bunch of stones stacked on top of each other's.
Yeah.
And this is actually a graph that he uses later on. Oh, there we go.
See a bunch of stones all put together.
Really interesting. I mean, one would think that would like fall apart if they're just stacked to each other, if they're smaller stones and not held together by something.
Either that, or they've been there's just been so many stones stacked together.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
So now I've heard people provide their their kind of theory of what these structures were for. So now I know this guy's probably leaning more of a religious aspect of the
Correct.
Pulemelei mounds, and then I've heard of the pigeons. The pigeons, and then there's other ones that are still trying to understand. So interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, he'll get into it a little bit later on some of the timelines there, AJ, and we might get into a conversation of, well, who built what, right? Just kind of looking at the timing. Another comment here saying it's very similar to the Fort in Uvea, that it's kind of same.
It does.
Same structure, kind of
with
like same build.
Bunch of stones stacking up and put it together.
And I guess David here is saying that very similar mounds as well. Oh, by the way, David, you caused quite a stir. We edited one of our videos, put it on TikTok, where you were talking about the study that they did on the weathering of the stone on the Ha'amonga and how it could be tens of thousands of years old. You caused quite a storm there, David. But yeah, let's continue here and see where it goes.
Roughly to north to south. So the south is towards the sea, the north is towards the big hill at the top, and then the eastern part to the west part, that is around 65 meters in length, and
It's
from
pretty
north
big.
to south is
Mm.
around 60 meters in length.
Ah, ok.
So I mean, this is a pretty large structure, you know,
Of stones and the amount of work part to put all
the
that there.
labor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So very, very interesting there. I'll jump to another bookmark that I did on it. This is the same on that website that we looked up.
Yep.
That had that same figure here, but he kind of walks through it and talks
And
about
that
it.
is a plan drawn up in the late 1970s of the ruins, and there are post holes on top of the mound. That would have indicated there would have been some sort of shelter or some sort of house. What form it was, we have no idea.
Alors là, vous avez un plan du site. Au milieu, c'est le monticule et au sommet.
There are kilometers.
Hey, with Priceline VIP Family, you can unlock deals 5 times faster. You don't even have to be an actual family.
At some
I'd be
point,
the
we're
dad.
gonna
I'm
have
the
to
dad. Hey, physically, it's clear that I'm the dad.
get
Okay,
a
so what you-
sponsor maybe,
Hmm.
so we can get out of the free version. Yeah, so yeah, they're saying that there is a
Structure.
structure that was at the top.
As you can see, there are in the areas in dark there, they indicate what it is now called star mounds. So while the Pulemelei it's the grand big mound with a kind of a rectilinear shape, the star mounds are quite different.
So that so this is the Manono Island and the Star Mounds. You know,
Yeah.
the Pulemelei is like kind of like a
Huge.
square rectangular
Yeah.
built, and I didn't realize, and he'll go into it maybe later on. I don't know if I clipped it, but these Star Mounds, you're lucky to call it a mound. It's like only like a foot and a half off the ground.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're not they're not very tall, and he'll get into it later on in some of the other videos. But you know, when I hear like, you know, the Star Mounds, I'm thinking, you know, at least like 4 or 5 feet off the ground. But
Pulemelei seems to be what we're kind of thinking.
yes.
Mm.
So let's go to the next one here. He goes into a little bit more detail on like the different shapes of the Star Mounds.
What does Pulemelei mean?
Pule is the word for ruler. Malay. Malay
Trap.
can mean a swirling of things.
Oh, yeah, swirling like a trap. Is that what
So
you would think?
we actually
Yeah.
gave it the name Pulemelei, and what it really means. That's the information. That's why it's very difficult, because there are no legends or oral stories from the local community so a lot of this material, we have to do a lot of comparison with other places in the Pacific that have similar kind of structures. So because there are some stories, but they vary quite a lot.
The word ake in Hawaiian refers to the tentacle of the octopus.
Yes, same. It's the same. Yes.
Same. Okay. Thank you.
So what I thought was interesting here is, you know, they call it tia, but obviously it's like in Tongan it's a sia. You know, it seems like
Wow.
the T and the S's between Tongan and Samoan, they do change quite a bit. Looks like a couple more comments before we get too far.
All right.
Nacho says Pulemelei sounds Tongan. Possible. You know, Tongan Samoan are pretty similar. What if the whole time is just a foundation for a Whareha Moa? Well, it seems like it was. I mean, they had a structure at the top where it had posts. And then looks like Brown Monk has another book for here. A book on one of the ships that left the Americas the same time as Polynesians and sailed to Taiwan and then the Philippines. Interesting. Be interesting to see what you know, because the Americas are known for, you know, kingships.
Yeah.
So Oh yeah, what lies? Toahola is not happy with what's being shared here. He is sharing that the Pulemelei is a direct translation from English, meaning pyramid. Is that what's the Samoan word for pyramid? Is there? Are you familiar with that word, Masi?
No, I'm not familiar. What would be the Samoanization of pyramid?
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, give us more context on that, Toahola. I mean, maybe we can have a more discussion. Hey, Alex, welcome back, just in time for a
Hello,
nice bucket.
hello, Nicolo.
Oh, that's okay. So that's like a pirimiti. You're just saying that that's what the Pulemelei could possibly be, like a Tong. That's the Tongan version, right?
Mm.
Pirimiti or piremeti. So maybe
Mm.
that's the Samoan
Parameta.
version. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm thinking like a Samoan be like Parameta or something. I don't
Something
know.
like that.
Yeah, but I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're having a hard time trying to get the
Mm.
locals to
Mm.
express it. And I swear I need to find the video, but I swear I saw a YouTube video where they were interviewing a Samoan lady, and she directly straight up says it was built for the Tongans. So I'm hoping I tried to go through my history like
Mm.
3 or 4 months ago to try and find it, and I couldn't find it, but I'll keep a look for it. I'll keep an eye out for it.
Okay.
Let's see. Go to let me open up. Looks like we ran out of these threads here. I got too many YouTube windows open here. I've got to make sure I don't get confused. It's Friday, guys. My brain is fried. It's been a long week.
Wow.
Man, did I copy and paste the same thing multiple times? Vaya, Vito.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. So, and I'm assuming the star mounds are just a bunch of rocks too, stacked with each other. Like there's no movement of like soil or anything. That's just me. I'm just kind of
This is a picture of it. And like I said, it's not very high. These are those star mounds,
okay. Mm.
right? Like it
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't
almost like
even
one stack of rocks kind of going around.
maybe two, looks like one, max two.
Two. Mm.
So this is the thing that surprised me. You know, I hear like, oh man, there's thousands of star mounds. And then I'm like, I don't know if I would call that a mound. I mean, I
Mm.
don't know.
Mm.
Maybe 4 or 5-year-old slide to show the state of what they look like. As you can see quite clearly, it's roughly around 400, 500 millimeters, half a meter high off the ground. So they're not very high.
Comme vous voyez sur cette image,
So they're not very big.
No.
I mean, I wonder, I mean, it kind of begs the question, what could have they been used for?
See, stuff like that, Tua, makes me feel like it's more of either a game or something to snare, like to catch something. That's what I'm thinking,
Mhm.
because that's something that you can easily like one leap. You're literally just from the normal level ground. You're just putting your like your manga, like you're kind of just leaping over. It's easy to go up, come down, and I feel like it could be something to catch. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
That's the thing. I mean, we have to.
see, and
Yeah.
the Pulemelei, that seems like, see, that's interesting. That seems like could be some tied to maybe more significant stuff because you're talking about a bunch of rocks stacked together. We're talking a lot of rocks, and it's not. It looks like it's a difficult place to even just to get to the top. So interesting. That's just kind of my thoughts there.
Yeah. Let's see. Don't want to get too far behind on the comments here. It was told to me by the Samoans that's how they used to say pyramid, which means they don't really know what they were.
No, and Toahola, he even the professor even says they're still trying to even figure it out. He's just probably giving his good, whack at this thing because no one really knows what the purpose of these structures were even built. And that's the thing. I don't know what's the so if the star mounds are called these, it's kind of hard to say Pulemelei for all of them because it seems like the Pulemelei is for the ones in Savai in that village
Mhm.
Palauri, which is significantly bigger. And it's you can kind of say that was for something. So hey, Toahola is probably, right. They're still trying to figure it out and they're just probably throwing ideas. Nothing is sure.
Yeah, Tevita here saying that has strong ties to Tonga. The Tui Tonga fled there after the war. Apparently, that's where the Tufunga are from. Tongans will send boats there to get fixed. He does talk a little bit about the Tufungas in there when he talks about when the Tangaloa arrived. So kind of interesting. We'll get into it. Nacho said maybe the Pulemelei rocks was tarifaki for the umu. That's one big umu right there. You
Hey, I
know?
mean, and the thing about Samoa, they're one of the, I think they're the only ones that even today that they don't even dig a hole because their rocks are so good. You can just do a umu just on top and you just get a bunch of leaves and cover. So hey, Nacho is probably
Maybe
onto
onto
something.
something. Kataki Nacho. I was thinking you were being sarcastic, but Mussey's confirming there's some scientific truth to what you just said. Oh yeah. Let's come back here. Share this tab. I'm afraid, guys, that I copy and pasted the same video over and over. I'm hoping that's not the case. We will find out.
From archaeological accounts in the material that is found, it says that some Samoans, people that settled Samoans, arrived 2,700 years ago in the area of Samoa, Tonga. Fiji was obviously settled before that, and within a 1,000-year, 800 to 1,000-year period, there is also then evidence in biological archaeology of a different strand of DNA genetic makeup arrived in Samoa. And we think currently that second arrival was when the Tangaloa clan arrived in Samoa.
So, if I understand correctly, what he's saying is 2,700 years ago, from their calculations, the Samoan Islands were settled. And he seems to be referencing the Lapita pottery, which,
Okay. That seems to
yeah.
be their studies. Okay.
Yes, around that time. And the oldest ones are found in Tonga 3,000 plus years ago. So it seems that's where he's kind of heading to. What I don't know is he saying within 1,000 years of the settling of Samoa, a new genetic marker arrives in Samoa, and they're saying that that's Tangaloa arriving to Samoa. So that would be around just before maybe 100 BC or 200 BC after, which is pretty much Tui Tonga period from all indications from the recent studies that are coming out. So comes back to the conversation, there seems to be, if that timing is correct in some of the Tui Tonga timelines, is that at the end of the Tangaloa and the Tui Tonga takes over, that someone goes to Samoa, the Tangaloa to start the Tui Manua, or shortly after the Tui Tonga? Because that's kind of like what the timeline kind of looks like, right? So if it's 2,700 years ago, so that's 700 BC, about 1,000 years later, that would put it at 300 AD, which is Tui Tonga timeline. Any thoughts or comments on that?
Yeah, no, that is an interesting comment. by Defici, he's probably, from what I understood, what he was kind of saying. It sounds like the first people that kind of settled there were Tangaloa, like a new strand. I don't know, because I don't know if it's. I'm just thinking because it's kind of around this, because I believe we're all kind of the same people, kind of thing. But I don't know. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what to make of those comments, Tua, because if it is, then it is just part of the same family kind of thing, right? I
Let's
don't know.
let's listen to it one more time,
Okay.
just to kind of see what it's trying to say.
Activating beast
Oh
mode.
yeah,
Three, two.
Malo Paris 2024.
Um, from archaeological accounts in the material that is found, it says that some Samoans, people that settled Samoans, arrived 2,700 years ago in the area of Samoa, Tonga. Fiji was obviously settled before that, and within a 1,000-year, 800 to 1,000-year period, there is also then evidence
Okay.
in
Now I can get it.
biological archaeology of a different strand of DNA genetic makeup arrived in Samoa. And we think currently that second arrival was when the Tangaloa clan arrived in Samoa.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Now I really get it listening the second time. So yeah, that is like what you described. If it's 1,000 years, that puts it in the line of like that first, that first three or first four of the
Mm-hmm.
Tui Tongas. That's during that timeline. Aho Eitu and those guys when they were in settling pretty much the central part of Tongatapu. So yeah, that's
Interesting.
way after, way after Tangaloa. So that's more Tui Tonga.
So yeah, that's some interesting, and I guess they're using, like I said, like a new genetic marker, because sometimes you can guess genetic markers when they enter by like
Mm.
how many generations back, and then they can do the years. I watched a video once that does that. We'll play a little
Okay.
bit more and see what else he says. There might be a duplicate with the next video, but we'll see what he continues to.
Stories about the Tangaloa clan arriving in Manua, in the coast of Manua, in a place called Lefanga. That's quite clear in the chants from Manua. And they arrived in Manua, the Tangaloa clan, and some of the clan people were builders, Tufunga Faufale. And they thought to brought the first sacred house called a Faleula to Samoa.
On revient encore dans les...
So basically, around 0 or 300 AD, there his position is the Tangaloa shows up and builds the first Faleula, which is the sacred temple, right? Which
In
is kind of
Manua.
yes, and so it introduces that new concept. Hey, comment here from David. A big difference with Tonga and Samoan mounds is Tongas were used to bury our royal families, but Samoan mounds wasn't, and that's that's the kind of the indicator to me, because they did say earlier in the video, David, that they thought that they would find buried people in there, but they scanned it and didn't find any burials. And one would suggest the reason why is that Tui Tonga gets buried in the Langi in Tonga,
Yes.
and that this was a residence when he's in Samoa. And so that could be an explainer for it. Hey, God loves you, Malo. Welcome.
Malo, God loves you.
Any thoughts on that, Masi?
No, good question, because we all can confirm that Tui Tonga did live in Upolu, Savaii, Tutuila, and probably went to Manua multiple times. They're traveling, but like what we mentioned, when they die, when they have the Polo or even the Inasi, it was all done in Tongatapu. So during that time, like I said, it could have been some other, other activities that we're still trying to find out. And some, of course, people in the local villages in Samoa and Hamor are trying to figure out exactly what the purposes are, because no one no one really knows what they really are, because they're still floating out their ideas, what they were used for. So yeah, no, interesting. And then with this, his interpretation going off a chance that Tangaloa showed up there, it's probably more like what we mentioned of the our practice of the Tangaloa. Is it Tokatufa? You
Mm.
know, somebody from Manua coming, has a child, shows up there in the name of Manua, because this is the next leader of Manua. Probably, go up there and they kind of signify that as an important event. So yeah, it's interesting. That's just kind of what I can give my opinion on that.
Yeah, here's another comment here. The mounds heaps were used for different purposes. Read Genesis 31:46. They made covenants on the top. That's an interesting thing in one of the, and I don't know if I copied and pasted the discussion he has, but he does have a discussion about the post being vertical and the horizontal post in the
top
the
of
faleula, whatever, the Samoan,
yeah.
and then it has the lashings, right? The special type of diamond lashings, and that's a representation of like heaven being connected down to the earth. So that's an interesting observation there. Brown Monk, that's has possibility. Definitely not impossible from our perspective.
Yeah. But thank you everyone for watching and enjoying this Polynesian Eyes podcast for this episode. Until the next time.
Sweet. Stay curious, ask the hard questions, and until next time, malo.
Mahalo. See ya.